YouTube Ozeko in the Goat House is back. Couple days after the 2020 NFL Draft, and I'm going to rank each of the draft classes. We're going to go from 32 to number 1. We're going to see who, in my opinion, won the NFL Draft. I'll also show you my grades, which were in the previous video, and the fan grades. There was voting on Twitter, and you guys voted for the grades on each of these teams. So you'll see a lot on each of these pages. If you want a more in-depth breakdown of each team's picks, draft classes, I'd check out the most recent videos, my grade video for each team. Kind of went in depth, and then I went in depth about round 1, each pick. So check out the previous videos if you want more in-depth info on the picks themselves. Before we get started, please subscribe. We got 2 channels here trying to reach that 50K. We're getting real close. And then that Twitter is a must follow. The voting went down on the Twitter, and there's all kinds of polls, NFL constant talk, breaking news, much more. So 32, who finished in 32nd? It was the Green Bay Packers. I gave them a D, and the worst draft in the whole NFL here. The fans voted. 76% of you gave them a D, which obviously was the highest percentage there. So yeah, for the Packers, and again, the previous videos are more in-depth on my thoughts on the draft as a whole. I did like the Jordan Love pick. It's kind of growing on me, and me kind of thinking, that they had to have Jordan Love. They traded up for him. That kind of makes me feel a little better about where I had Jordan Love, which was the 3rd best quarterback in the class, because I don't think the Packers traded up and had to have a quarterback they had ranked 4th or whatever, I'd be pretty confident that Jordan Love was 2nd behind Joe Burrow on their board. So, them believing that he can be maybe the next Aaron Rodgers, is a pretty good sign, I'd say. The rest of the draft was pretty confusing. DeGuara, I think, will make an impact. After that, a lot of reaches, a lot of confusing picks. So they came in at 32, and it looked like, compared to my grade and your guys' grade, we were in agreement there. So on the 31 was the Patriots, which is surprising. It's hard to doubt Bill Belichick. It's very hard, but this is another kind of confusing draft. I like some players here. I like the kind of the comparisons, replacements for like Josh Uche over Van Noy, Anthony Jennings instead of Jamie Collins. I like those. There's a lot of guys, a couple guys I didn't have a grade on, which is kind of rare. And there was, kicker drafted in the 5th. Duggar I like a little early. 2 tight ends in a row. A guy like Keene could be used as a fullback, but a little early on those. So gave them a C-. The fans voted 50%, landed on C, and that was the final grade for you guys there. So it looks like, again, we're in agreement there. So you love to see that, everyone kind of matching up here. So we'll have some in this video that are pretty different. So 31st best draft, the Patriots. 30th is going to be the Texans. They started off pretty hot with Blacklock. Loved that pick. And then it ended up being reaches for the most part. Coulter was probably the least of the reaches out of the remainder, just not by much. But then the other ones, Grenard. But there was a shortage on the pass rushers, so you can't blame them too much. But Grenard was a little early for me. I thought Zuniga was the better of the Florida pass rushers. Charlie Heck, definitely early. They traded up to get him as well. John Reed, slot corner, but a little early to grab, an undersized slot corner there. So I ranked them 30. I graded them C. The fans voted. You guys voted. 52% of you said C. So once again, we're all in agreement here. I like it. We got 29 is going to be the Falcons. Wasn't a fan of their class last year. This year, I'd say a little better, but still not thrilled with it. But they get good players, though. Terrell's a solid player. It's a little early. Marlon Davidson's a heck of a player. I'm curious to see how they use him. The talk about them switching to a 3-4 because they brought in Fowler. Then Davidson would play the end spot. If they stay to a 4-3, do they play Davidson at end? Because there's some talk on that, but I think he's a little too heavy. And the lack of speed to play the end there, but could slide into D tackle. Michael Walker I kind of liked, one of those sleepers. I was surprised on where they took him, though. The Hawkins one was interesting. I don't think I've ever had a player drafted in the 4th round that I did not have a grade on, so that was a first for me. So I ranked him 29, grade C. You guys voted 45%, so we seen it was pretty close there, but 45% was a C. So once again, we're all in agreement. Moving on, number 28 was the Seahawks. I gave him a C+. Yeah, kind of back and forth here. Like guys like Brooks and Taylor I kind of liked. Did trade up for Taylor. Damon Lewis is solid. Kobe Parkinson was a big reach there. DJ Dallas, another one. Thought it was a good deep sleeper running back. They didn't really take him deep though. Alton Robinson was a pretty solid pick. A couple tight ends they drafted. The Parkinson one was a little bit of a reach. See what they do with these guys. Brooks is kind of all these players are to be determined on where they play or how they play. Brooks is kind of like where he plays because I view him as strictly an inside linebacker. They do have Bobby Wagner, so that's pretty interesting. I just do not view Brooks as an outside linebacker. I'm not saying he'll be bad there, but there's a pretty big difference, I think, on his play to where he's, I guess, aligned. So interesting draft there. I think Darrell Taylor will have a pretty productive year, though. So that's one of those guys that, yeah, he went, it's something spectacular in value. Maybe they traded picks away, so the value might be below to where you think. But one of those guys that I think will be surprisingly pretty productive right off the bat. Could be a pretty darn productive defensive rookie there. So that's something I like. And I ranked him 28 though, C+. That's something else to keep in mind. Where I ranked him doesn't necessarily mean bad. C+ to me isn't bad. Obviously, you definitely want better. But some of these teams that are ranked in the bottom part, just because they're ranked 20, whatever it may be, doesn't mean I think they're bad. The players will be bad. Not at all. But the fans, 48% voted C, so we're in the ballpark again. We're in the ballpark. 27 is going to be the Chargers. I gave them a C+. The fans actually gave them a B, but you seen it was pretty borderline there. B, C, 38% voted B, and that took it. So, yeah, pretty close. So, once again, I think we're close enough in the ballpark. And then, I ranked them 27th. You look at the draft, not a lot of players, but a pretty complete team, so you don't really need that. But I do think they really needed a left tackle. And they didn't fill that. I don't really punish teams for not filling a need because I hate drafting purely off need. But at the same time, they did it with the 6th overall pick, and it's actually coming out today that they would have taken Tua if he was there as well. So that tells me the top of their board was 3 quarterbacks, Burrow, Herbert, and Tua, and it could have been that order, Burrow, Herbert, Tua, or it could have been Burrow, Tua, Herbert. We don't really know. But either way, the fact that, a guy like Isaiah Simmons, Chase Young had better grades than some of those quarterbacks. So the fact that they were kind of determined to take a quarterback no matter what is pretty questionable. That draft strategy, some teams do it. I strongly disagree with it. So wasn't a fan of the Herbert pick, trading up for Kenneth Murray. I like Kenneth Murray in that defense. They did have to trade up for him. I like the fits of Kelly, Reed. They're a little early. I think Gilman and Hill they probably got those guys around later than where they were supposed to go. So those are the ones that kind of stand out a little bit. Gave it a C+, 27th rank. Fans, we talked about 38% B. So we are in the ballpark there. If it was a high-end percentage B, then maybe it would be a little different. But right around the same area. 26 is the Colts. I ranked them at a C+. My grade video yesterday where I really broke it down. Yeah, people weren't happy with me with that. They were really disagreeing with me. Yeah, I have my grade. Everybody sees the grades and the evaluations in place, so I just kind of take to where they were picked based on where I had them picked. They had quite a few reaches. It's an interesting draft class. There's some picks that I really, really like. Jacob Eason, I love that pick. So I thought it's a great fit. I thought they can get him early second. Maybe if they traded in late first, it wouldn't be that bad either. And I think it's a perfect guy from behind Phillip Rivers for the future. Could be starting by 2021. So I love that pick. I absolutely love that pick. Guys like Michael Pittman, Jonathan Taylor, these are impact playmakers. But they weren't picks that were like A+, so nothing to drive it up. Pittman right around where I thought he would go, maybe a tiny bit early, for me. People seem to fall in love with Pittman. Good player. Seems like a really good kid. Jonathan Taylor, just limit the fumbles. Just limit the fumbles for me. I actually had an early third because the value of the running back position on top of the 15 fumbles, and kind of costed Wisconsin and their limited losses. So he'll be good. He'll have that home run ability. Yeah, he'll have those games where he wins for them because he just breaks a run. He'll have those games where maybe he loses for them with the fumbles, though. Splitting, but then you can make the case splitting with those other running backs. That's going to really limit his fumbles, and then he'll have those big plays. Yeah, that's exactly right. But do you trade up early second to get a guy that you limit? That's kind of the question there. And then there's some other picks that were reaches. They drafted some undrafted free agents, in the 6th. Blackman was a couple rounds too early. I liked the Desmond Patman. I had a 6th-round grade on him. They took him in the 6th, but I really like him. I really like that pick. So back and forth there on the Colts. There was more picks that I thought were just, compared to my grades that were done pre-draft, that were just bit early there, so that's why the C plus. Which again, playmakers, big time players, they'll help the team. They got better. You know, that doesn't, the grade really doesn't match what my thoughts are on how the players will be. So I think people are taking that the wrong way. The fans voted 45% B, so you guys were a little higher on me, but I don't think that, the whole bunch, the whole fan base of the NFL. So, 45% B. If it was well over 50, then because I had a plus next to that C as well. So I thought we were in the ballpark there, so I think it's just Colts fans that disagree. 25 is going to be the Saints. I gave him a B minus. Yeah, the lack of picks. If there was the good thing of the lack of picks and trading away your whole day three, the good news is if there was, there's a few teams in the NFL, very few that could afford this. Saints were one of them. The Bond pick was a great pick. Ruiz was solid. Pretty much the Bond is holding the 4 picks up for me. So yeah, you guys voted 50% B, so we are in the range there. I ranked them 25. B minus. 24th rank is the Niners. Once again, we're in agreement. Same range there. 52% voted B. I had them at a B minus. 24. The first 2 picks are really holding it up. For me, I do like Jauan Jennings. It's nothing that it's going to drive the grade up, but I do like that pick. Almost like people viewed Claypool as kind of a slot tight end. They're definitely going to view Jennings as a slot tight end. So that's going to be fun in that offense. With them. Yeah, Colt McKivitz, I thought was a little early, and they traded Breida for it, actually. So really the 2 picks, 2 playmakers at the top, kind of driving it up a little bit to keep it in the B range. So B minus ranked 24, 52% voted B. So that looks pretty good there. We got the 23rd ranked team, the Dolphins. Once again, sitting in the ballpark. B minus for me. Fans, 44% gave them a B. We're in agreement here. I was all over the place. I think most people would agree. All over the place with this Dolphins draft. Like, Tua's fantastic. They didn't have to trade up. But then some reaches with their other 2 first-round picks. I like Robert Hunt. Raekwon Davis, like his upside, maybe a tad bit early, but, it's going to be a decent grade still. Brandon Jones is a big reach for me. Kinley was a pretty big reach for me. So then, it's really, since the Tua pick, and maybe with the exception of Hunt, it's kind of driven down the grade, but then the Strobridge and Weaver in the same round was absolutely ridiculous. Those were epic steals and guys that can make an impact pretty early on. And then picks, they did acquire Breida in there too, so that works out. So you're kind of back and forth there. So yeah, I guess the Tua, Strobridge, Weaver keeps it from being a C, B minus, ranked 23, 44%, graded at a B. Then we move on. A little different here. Yeah, we're in the ballpark, I'd say. But the Eagles, I gave them a B minus. 39% said C. I just, for me, I think I know why the difference here. A little difference. But for me, I kind of grade the entire draft evenly. The Eagles, look at that second round was pretty disastrous in my opinion. But since I graded evenly, they had a hell of a day 3. So that kind of drove up the really bad grade that they already had up to that point. Guys like Kayvon Wallace, fantastic pick. John Hightower, Prince Tega Wanago, fantastic picks there. So ranked 22, B minus. I like where the Eagles are heading. 39% voted C. So I guess we're somewhat similar there. But yeah, understandable why I'm a little higher. Moving on to 21. And we got B and a B. 46 voted B. I ranked them 21. The Giants draft, it's unique. Everyone's draft's different. You see, like the Dolphins, the Colts. Some picks I really like. Some picks I really dislike. The Giants, I like every pick, but I don't really like any pick. But I don't dislike any pick. There's some confusing part. I'm curious to see where they play McKinney. Because he did split 50-50 about free safety, strong safety, but his best play was at strong by far. By his play, it tells me he deserves to be at a strong safety spot playing in the box in the NFL. What also tells me that is he doesn't have the speed combined with range in the back end to play free safety. So to me, he's strictly a strong safety. It feels like they have a bunch of strong safeties and a bunch of corners on their team. So we'll see what they. Julian Love has the ability to play free safety, but they're not going to start McKinney with Julian Love. They're going to just keep Peppers on the bench. So it's going to be interesting to see what they. And I would say maybe they play an extra safety. Some of those teams play the big nickel. Xavier McKinney can play the big nickel for sure. be a damn good one, I think. But then you have Peppers and Love perhaps, but then you have all these corners, like an insane amount that are, I think, it's a pretty solid unit. You don't have an elite guy or anything, but pretty solid unit. So what are you going to do with all those corners then? That's kind of what I'm kind of waiting to see. Other than that, yeah, there's some solid picks. They took more corners. I'm intrigued by the Cam Brown pick because I wasn't high on him based on his tape at off-the-ball linebacker. But maybe add a little more strength, and then that tells me his body and his play. He's a 3-4 edge rusher. And I'm feeling pretty good about that, and I think that's what the Giants will do because there is no way this guy's going to be an inside linebacker in their defense. So I'm pretty confident they're going to transition him to outside, and that one's really growing on me. Carter Coughlin could be a sneaky good pass rusher as well. So it looks like we're in agreement on that one. They rank 21 for me. Number 20 is going to be the Titans. Looks like we're in agreement again. Grade B. You guys gave him a grade B, 64%. A little bit of a reach for Isaiah Wilson in the first. Christian Fulton's an absolute steal. It's an A++ pick. I love the fit of Evans, but nothing crazy in terms of grade. Love the fit of Murchison, but nothing crazy in terms of grade. When I say that, I don't mean like A. I mean like A+. I like the Cole McDonald one quite a bit. So it kind of all evens out there for the most part. You get the reach early, but then you kind of gain it back with the big-time pick in Fulton. And then there's just a bunch of solid picks that are fit. So, kind of right in the middle at B. There. The last couple years I've at this time, preseason, I guess. Preseason, I've been in love with John Robinson's draft, and they've turned out. He's looked like one of the better recent drafters. So I've kind of been agreeing, and this year is not on that level, but still solid. So we'll see what happens with this class. Number 19 is going to be the Raiders. Fans voted 41% at a B. So, again, we're right there. Makes sense. I think the Tanner Muse one's kind of bringing it down. I felt like they drafted a special teamer in the third round. Probably a switch to linebacker, but won't play too much at linebacker. The tape was pretty rough. Can be blocked for sure, and definitely will whiff on some tackles. So that one really, that big reach, I thought, almost undrafted free agent. They got a third round. So that kind of brings it down, but there's picks that I really like. Brian Edwards, I really like. I guess it's the only one that I really, really like, but there's picks that are solid, so kind of split the difference here. Grade B, you guys were in agreement, 19. So far up to this point, for the most part, been in agreement. 18, we got the Jaguars, B+. They got to haul a lot of players. Some I really like, some that maybe not a whole bunch. 55% voted B, and I got a B+. So, yeah, right there. Henderson, I like where he went. I like this team for him. Just a little early. Love the Chason pick. Love the Shenault pick. Hamilton was early. Thought there was better options for that specific nose tackle position as well. Barch, solid pick. Couple solid picks there. Quarterman, a little bit of early. Colin Johnson, I like that pick. And then, Luton, I like it. Last couple picks, didn't have a grade on them. So, yeah, kind of back and forth here. So, I gave him a B+. You guys gave him a B, rank 18. 17 is going to be the Lions. I gave him a B+. You guys voted at 51% B. For the most part, I like this draft. I felt like the Lions got better. They got better at corner. They got better at running back. Julian Okwara was their best pick. It's a fantastic pick. Got a couple guards that can play. A couple early picks, at the end. But this was a pretty good draft for them, so that's why I gave them a B+. Rank 17 doesn't say how good. It feels like they should have a better number, so that's why you really can't focus on the rank in terms of what I think and how much better they got. I think they improved. Pretty solid deal, especially with the NFC North. I think the two teams to the top of the NFC North kind of, you could argue, maybe are definitely not better than last year. So I think the Lions put themselves. I think the NFC North's wide open. Really, is what I'm getting to. I think the Lions put themselves in a position to possibly win that division. Not saying that they are, but I think that's that close there. So they did a good job. 16 to me, the Bears. Speaking of NFC North. Here's one that we're in a disagreement. I see a lot of grades on the Bears, and people got them lower. And I can understand, people have their different grading systems. They didn't have a first-round pick, so maybe they get docked points for that. I kind of graded evenly here. I thought their second round was fantastic. I thought they got the best tight end in the class. That's not an A+ pick in the, with Cole Kmet. Probably an A, though. I don't care how many tight people say, so stupid. They got Cole Kmet. They already had 9 tight ends. That makes no sense. You got to get better there. You're going to cut some of the other tight ends. And then Jalen Johnson, I had a first-round grade on. So I know that's a fantastic pick. Jalen Johnson, Kyle Fuller. I'm really liking the idea of that. So they come out of the second round with an A plus for me. It did go down a little bit. I still disagree with Ryan Pace trading up for every mid to late round player he has to have. That's it's not smart, and it definitely will cost them in the long run. But at the same time, you can't ignore the players they got. Guys like Darnell Mooney is a stud. That's today's NFL's receiver right there. He's a third day. Henry Ruggs. I like Mooney a lot. Seventh round is a couple upside guys. I think the people that voted really thought the Bears needed a lineman. So they're punishing them for not getting that lineman. I'm not on board with that. For not having a first round pick, they did pretty solid. And I think they got 2 starters there in the second round. So I gave him an A minus. You guys voted for a C. So that's the first one we're in a disagreement there. 55% C. I ranked them 16th with an A minus. Interesting. We got the Redskins next. I gave the Redskins an A minus. You guys gave them a B. So a little different there. 56% voted B. After similar to the Bears, after the first few picks, I got them pegged at an A plus. Young gets an A. It's the pick they should make with the second pick there. I love Antonio Gibson. I love Sadiq Charles for them in the fourth. We're sitting at right around an A plus. Gandy Golden I like, just a little early. Ishmael's a little early. Hudson's a little early. Just a little bit though for these guys. Curl, solid pick in the 7th. James Smith-Williams is I'd say an A plus pick in the 7th. So that kind of drives it back up a little bit there. So we're left at an A minus. So I felt pretty firm on that grade. 15, you guys graded a B, 56%. So a little different there. Good draft for the Redskins. 14 is gonna be the Bills. I gave them an A minus. You guys gave them a B, 53%. So similar as the Redskins one here. So I'm a little higher, I guess. On the Bills, I'm surprised by that one. I didn't think I'd be a little higher on the Bills. I thought it'd be pretty even, or people would probably be higher than me on the Bills. But because people really like Epenesa. I mean, so do I. But it's not a pick that I'm just freaking out about. Like, wow, it's a more than a solid pick. Zach Moss, Gabriel Davis a little early. Fromm's a good pick there. Just interesting him backing up Josh Allen, taking a kicker a little early. Hodgins right around where I thought he would go. Jackson's a pretty good pick down there. Ranked 14th, A minus. You guys gave him a B. 13's going to be the Rams. Real different here. Similar to the Bears one. You guys gave him a C. I gave him an A minus. I mean, talk about without a first round pick. You talk about the haul here. You talk about playmakers too. Cam Akers going to be big for them. Van Jefferson's, that's a great pick there. It's a fantastic route. Terrell Lewis is an A plus, one of the better picks of the entire draft. It's a first round talent. They get him down here. Love the fit. I really like the way the secondary is coming together. The Burgess is like kind of the last piece. Don't forget about Taylor Rapp. Taylor Rapp is going to be a really good safety as well. The secondary is really coming together, and it kind of, I've started to feel that way with this Burgess pick. I like him playing slot corner. I really like that. Bryson Hopkins just needs to catch the ball. He either makes that big play or he drops the ball. But I think that's exactly what they're missing from the tight end position. They got these solid tight ends. They do their job. Nothing spectacular. I guess Everett will have this crazy catching, after the catch run once in a while. But Hopkins has that big playability here and there. So I think that's a perfect tight end for them. Fuller, I thought was 7th undrafted. To take him 6th, no big deal. And then a guy like Ankrum, I think stands out in the 7th. I think it's actually, we talked about it, similar to the Bears, because I gave the Bears an A minus. You guys gave him a C. Same thing happened here, but then on the next level here, to be more specific, I think people are hating on the Bears because they didn't take a lineman. Like, they needed a lineman, which I'm going to disagree on that they needed one, and drafting off need in general. The Rams, the same thing. I'm a little more on board with the Rams needed a lineman a little more, though. But, I mean, that means they wouldn't have Cam Akers, Van Jefferson, Terrell Lewis, Terrell Burgess. And those are a fine 4 picks without having a first-round pick, If Van Jefferson didn't have the injury, there was I'm not going to say what happened, but it wouldn't have completely blew my mind that he went late first. So, and then Terrell Lewis was a first-round talent. So, that's the way I look at it. Yeah, they still need linemen pretty bad, but you can't pass up on the talent that you got there. So 13th ranked Rams, A minus. You guys disagreed, gave them a C. Interesting. I gave the Panthers an A. You guys gave them a B. Not too surprised by the fan grade, a little lower than me, because they drafted all defense. You want to see a little mixture, but you also can't punish them for that. They got some good players. Another one of those drafts where, there's nothing bad here whatsoever. Nothing bad at all. Is it that, is there anything A plus about it? I think they're getting Pride. I think Pride's really good for that defense and around later than he should have went. But there's nothing like, I guess, like, wow. I think they got really good fits, what they needed, and good picks. So that's just an A to me. So that was 12, and you guys gave him a B. Next up, we got the Steelers at 11. A little different here. I gave him an A. 48% said B. Not a lot of picks. No first-round picks, so I think that's why you guys voted a B. But that's really not how I grade. Claypool is a great pick there. It's going to be fun to watch him with that receiver unit and Big Ben. I can't wait for that. Highsmith's going to be in the rotation this year. They really have the lack of, the good defense and the good pass rush, but there was a really lack of rotation pass rush, which is very, very important over the past several years. I mean, even before, Bud Dupree had a breakout year this year. Before that, it was pretty much just T.J. Watt. Before T.J. Watt, it wasn't a whole bunch. So finally getting somebody else in there, and he could be a starter, I think, in 2021. Anthony McFarland was a fantastic pick. I think everyone was kind of low on him. I liked him a lot. I think a perfect compliment to complement James Conner there. Dawson, solid pick. Brooks, we're not going to see much of Brooks early on. I don't think they're going to move him to middle linebacker, which I like the idea of that a lot. Carlos Davis, I mean, this is, similar to the Panthers, nothing maybe that's making me jump up and down, even though kind of Claypool and McFarland are pretty close to that. These are just good picks here. Give them an A. You guys gave them a B, 48%. And then we move on to number 10. It's going to be the Chiefs. Yeah, I gave them an A. You guys gave them a B. 54% voted B. I like the fits. I like the impact. Guys like Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to make a big impact. Lucas Niang was a steal. Willie Gay, I think, I like him a little more now, now that he's with this defense, but I kind of already liked him around there where he was picked. So it's just a good draft. I guess nothing to get there's things to get really excited about in terms of, like I said, Edwards-Helaire me a pretty big impact in this offense. Those things you get excited about. I guess there's no, maybe that's why people gave him a B. Nothing to go like, wow, how'd they get that player? But I still think the draft's worthy of an A. 10th best, 54% voted B there. 9's going to be the Jets. We're in agreement. Back to agreeing. A, you guys 50% said A. I ranked them 9. James Morgan picks kind of hold him down from being an A+ or better. That was early. I also thought there was several quarterbacks better. And it's just interesting, is that just in case Darnold doesn't pan out? Because I haven't been too impressed with Darnold yet, actually. So, but it's not that James Morgan should replace him. But Becton, solid pick. Denzel Mims, an A+ pick. Ashton Davis, an A+ pick. Cameron Clark's a very solid pick. Bryce Paul's an A+ pick. So, I think they got a lot better with this too. I think I got some fits. I think they got a lot better. So I ranked them 9, A. 50% voted A. We're in agreement. 8. In agreement again, but the higher end of the percentage for the A, 73% voted A for the Ravens. I gave them an A, pick A. Just a solid group of players here. That's what it is. A couple steals at the end, Prochet, Stone. Rest of that, not. There's really no picks before that, or make you go, wow, what a pick. But there's some solid picks there. Queen, Dobbins, Duvernay. Those are the picks that really stood out to me, besides the A+ steals with the Prochet and Geno Stone. So, ranked 8 there with A. Looks like we're in agreement. 7's going to be the Browns. Same thing. Agreeing. Grade A. 58% voted A. Wills, very solid pick. They trade back, get Delpit. Fantastic. Jordan Elliott, I thought, was somewhat of a steal down there. Donovan Peoples-Jones, it was a steal in the back end. So, and that could be their number 3 receiver there, which is important in today's game. Even though it's not as important maybe in the Stefanski offense, because he just likes running a lot of 2 receiver, and a lot of tight ends there. So ranked 7, grade A, couple really good picks, really good fits. The Bucks, agreement once again, ranked 6, grade A, fan grade 56% said A. Winfield was a steal. Wirfs is what they needed. Winfield was a steal. Tyler Johnson was a steal. Really liked the Khalil Davis pick as well. Vaughn will get some reps this year. So that looks like we're in agreement. That's rank 6. Got better. A contender got better here with some playmakers, I'd say. Then we move on to number 5. It's going to be the Vikings. Another one that we're in agreement. I gave them a grade A. Fan grade, 66% voted A. I see most of the, Planet has the Vikings number 1 draft. Wouldn't really disagree with that. I just ranked them 5 because, I think through the first 2 days, they actually may have looked like the best draft there was. You got a lot of starters out there. Then you got some guys that here, I really like some of these picks in day 3, and there's some picks that a little early. So I guess that's what dropped them down. You could argue that drafting 15 players. You can argue, I guess, both ways there. If it's drafting 15 players, you better be at the top, which is a fact. You better be towards the top. Drafting 15 players, you also have more chances of getting the big-time player, big-time grades, and then I guess some of the reaches there, trying to find the projects, the upside. So, yeah, it looks like we're in agreement there. Ranked them 5A. We're on to the A-plus teams. I get the Falcons an A-plus because these are all really good picks. Really good picks for them, really good fits. And then they got some steals. Isaiah Simmons, Josh Jones, epic steals there. So I gave him an A+, ranked him 4. You guys 74% and an A, so we're right there in the ballpark. So it made sense there for the Cardinals. They had a good draft. Number 3 is going to be the Bengals. Yeah, even though we're kind of close there, A+, A, 47% said A, so it was close to being a B for you guys, actually. And I just think the Bengals had a really good draft. Number 3 best draft in the whole league here. I mean, you get the best player in football. You may think that may create the A+. Not really, though. I mean, you get the best player in college football, but then you get T. Higgins to pair with him. I like T. Higgins a lot. It's in the first-round grade there. And then you get Logan. Logan Wilson's the only one. I don't dislike it. It's just a little early for me. I wasn't as high on Logan Wilson as the rest just because he had those flashy moments, but it was against the weakest competition they played. And then you had the moments that weren't so hot, but he's going to plug and play for them, I believe. So it's a solid pick. It's the rest of it though. Davis Gaither was a fantastic college. Kareem's going to be an impact for them this year. That's a 5th-round pick that could be starting by the end of the year, maybe earlier than that. Dennis a solid pick. Marcus Bailey, that's a low risk, high potential, high reward pick. I love this Bengals draft. Number 3 best draft in football this year for the draft. So you guys 47% A. Number 2 is going to be the Broncos. A+, 2nd overall draft. This is a haul, a lot of big-time playmakers. The Broncos got a lot better. They got a lot better here. Fan grade, 72% said A, so yeah, we're right there. Looking at how much better the receiver unit got. I already love Courtland Sutton. He was my guy a few years ago. Stud last year. He's on his way to being a top 10 receiver in the NFL, especially with Drew Lock. Going to be a lot of fun. You add Judy, KJ Hamler. They all make each other a lot better. Makes the offense a lot better. Makes Drew Lock a lot better. Makes everything a lot better. O.J. Moutier was the pick I just thought was a little early. There's some upside with him. That was really the only one. But Cushenberry's probably going to start at center. McTelvin Agim, I'm a big fan of McTelvin Agim. I'm even more of a fan of him at the 3-4 end position in Vic Fangio's scheme. One of those where I just can't wait to watch him in that scheme. Albert O back with Drew Lock, fantastic. Stern adds that utility defensive player. Vic Fangio will find a way. Netane Moody from Fresno State might, if he's healthy, starter at guard early on. We'll see. And a couple solid 7th-round picks. It's a haul. It's a really good draft. You got some good starters. You make this team a lot better. A+, Broncos, 2nd best draft. This is usually a best draft. But the Cowboys had one of the better drafts I've ever seen. They're number 1. You get the best receiver in the draft at pick 17. Was not supposed to happen. You get the 2nd best corner, Trevon Diggs, a playmaker with quick feet, physical, everything. Checks the box, everything, has the upside. Only been at the position for 2 years. With a 1st-round talent in the 2nd round. Going to start, ridiculous. And then Neville Gallimore, I thought would go 2nd, but you can argue he's a 1st-round talent. Today's type of nose tackle, rare type of nose tackle. They needed that. Big-time pick. Absolute big-time pick. Biotish, big-time pick. He might be starting. It's a fantastic fit. Reggie Robinson, that's a sleeper pick. A lot of upside. Bradley Anae, one of the steals of the draft. He can play a lot early on. This was a ridiculous, ridiculous draft for the Cowboys. Jerry Jones, Mike McCarthy mainly, a lot of credit. Staying true to your board, props to them. This is absolutely fantastic. Really, the Cowboys, Broncos stood out, and then Bengals right there behind them. Cardinals, Vikings, those are the ones that really stood out. But the Cowboys, Broncos at the top, wow, fantastic. Teams I can get excited about. Not fans of these teams, teams I really can get excited about. Can't wait to watch some of these players. That's going to do it for this one. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Check out the other videos for more in-depth breakdowns. More videos on the way. Please subscribe, follow our Twitter. That's going to do it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.